In 1943, Hollywood actress Frances Farmer was arrested in a highly publicized incident that became a symbol of her tragic downfall. Once a rising star, Farmer had gained fame for her striking beauty and compelling performances in the late 1930s. However, by the early 1940s, she was struggling with alcoholism, mental health issues, and conflicts with the rigid Hollywood studio system. Her arrest followed a series of personal and legal troubles, culminating in her being dragged out of a courtroom after allegedly assaulting an officer. The shocking image of her disheveled and distressed appearance only fueled the media's exploitation of her struggles. What followed was years of institutionalization and mistreatment in psychiatric hospitals, making her one of the most tragic figures in Hollywood history. Though she attempted a comeback later in life, Frances Farmer's story remains a haunting reminder of the brutal realities behind the glamour of Hollywood's golden age. This haunting 1934 photograph captures an assault victim posing for the camera in Chinatown, Los Angeles. It is part of a larger collection of LAPD crime photographs spanning from the 1920s to the 1970s, rediscovered in 2014. These images, originally taken for investigative purposes, provide a raw and unfiltered look at the darker side of Los Angeles during its formative decades. At a time when the city was expanding rapidly, crime and corruption were rampant, with organized crime, racial tensions, and law enforcement brutality shaping the urban landscape. The stark realism of these photographs stands in contrast to the Hollywood glamour often associated with the era, offering a grim but historically valuable insight into the lives affected by violence and injustice. While many of the images in the collection are graphic and unsettling, they serve as a crucial archive of crime and law enforcement history, revealing a side of Los Angeles that was often hidden from public view. This chilling 1957 photograph captures Bob Hill, a neighbor of Ed Gein, reacting in horror as he enters Gein's farmhouse on the same day of the infamous killer's arrest. What he saw inside would shock not only the quiet town of Plainfield, Wisconsin, but the entire world. Ed Gein, later dubbed the Butcher of Plainfield, had been living in macabre isolation, his home filled with grotesque trophies crafted from human remains. Investigators found furniture and household items made from the skin and bones of his victims, chairs upholstered in human flesh, bowls made from skulls, and even a suit of skin Gein had fashioned for himself. Hill's reaction in this photo leaves us wondering, what did he see in that moment? A lampshade made from human skin? A skull-adorned bedpost? The answer is lost to history, but the sheer horror captured in his expression speaks volumes. This crime scene would go on to inspire some of the most terrifying figures in pop culture, including Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Norman Bates from Psycho, and Buffalo Bill from The Silence of the Lambs. The discovery of Gein's house marked a turning point in true crime history, cementing him as one of America's most infamous murderers, and ensuring that the horrors found in Plainfield would never be forgotten. This still from The Lost Continent, 1968, captures a young Dana Gillespie in one of her most iconic early film roles. Known for her striking beauty and commanding screen presence, Gillespie played a supporting role in this surreal British adventure horror film, which blended shipwreck survival, lost civilizations, and eerie sea creatures. Directed by Michael Carreras and produced by Hammer Films, The Lost Continent was a wild mix of horror, fantasy, and adventure. It followed a group of travelers who become stranded in a mysterious Sargasso Sea, where time seems frozen, and dangers lurk beneath the surface. While the film was met with mixed reviews upon release, it has since gained a cult following, appreciated for its bizarre atmosphere, ambitious storytelling, and unique visuals. Beyond acting, Dana Gillespie would go on to have a successful career in music, becoming known for her work in blues and rock, even collaborating with David Bowie. However, for many film lovers, her role in The Lost Continent remains a memorable moment in Hammer Films history. A powerful and iconic image of the final days of World War II, capturing a Soviet soldier armed with a PPSH-41 submachine gun amid the ruins of Berlin in 1945. The PPSH-41, known for its high rate of fire and rugged reliability, became a symbol of the Soviet Red Army's advance into Nazi Germany. By this time, Soviet troops had encircled the city, launching a relentless assault that would culminate in the fall of Berlin and the end of the Third Reich. The soldiers' posture, expression, and surroundings likely reflect both exhaustion and determination, hallmarks of those who fought in one of history's most brutal urban battles. The devastation in the background serves as a stark reminder of the war's toll, while the soldier himself represents the triumph of the Red Army after years of grueling combat on the Eastern Front. A haunting image from the turbulent years of World War II, showing a French female collaborator dressed in a German soldier's uniform, found in a photo taken by or from a captured German POW in the 1940s. During the Nazi occupation of France, 1940 to 1944, collaboration took many forms, from political allegiance to intimate relationships with German soldiers. Women who fraternized with the enemy were often condemned as collabos, and following the liberation of France, many faced brutal public shaming, including the infamous head-shaving punishments meted out by resistance fighters and angry crowds. The origins of this particular image are unclear, but it raises several questions. Was she willingly wearing the uniform? Was it a disguise, or perhaps a token from a relationship? Without context, we can only speculate. What is certain, however, is that wartime alliances and betrayals left deep scars on occupied France, scars that lingered long after the war's end. This striking photograph from 1880 captures a group of child laborers pausing for a brief moment of rest amidst their grueling workday. Their weary expressions and tattered clothing tell a silent yet powerful story of an era when industrial progress came at a great human cost. During the late 19th century, child labor was widespread, particularly in factories, mines, and textile mills. Long hours, dangerous conditions, and meager wages were the harsh realities faced by these young workers, who were often as young as 6 or 7 years old. Many toiled away to support their struggling families, with little hope of education or a better future. Though largely accepted at the time, child labor sparked growing concerns among reformers, eventually leading to labor laws and protections in the early 20th century. Today, images like this serve as a haunting reminder of the past, highlighting the resilience of those who endured unimaginable hardships in the name of survival. This stunning image from the 1950s captures Joy Lansing at the height of her career, embodying the classic Hollywood glamour of the era. Known for her beauty, charisma, and striking presence, Lansing became a familiar face in film and television throughout the decade. In 1958, she appeared as Zita in Orson Welles' A Touch of Evil, a noir masterpiece that remains one of the greatest films of its genre. Though her role was brief, Lansing's presence added to the film's moody and atmospheric allure. Beyond this, she was widely recognized for her work in television, frequently appearing in shows like The Beverly Hillbillies and Perry Mason. Despite often being cast in glamorous roles, Lansing was more than just a beauty icon. She was a talented performer who left a lasting impression on Hollywood's golden era. Today, she is remembered as a symbol of 1950s elegance, a starlet whose image still captivates audiences decades later. This evocative photograph, taken in 1949 by Dutch photographer Art Klein, offers a window into post-war Antwerp, capturing a city in transition. The aftermath of World War II still lingered in Europe's streets, as daily life slowly returned to a sense of normalcy amid the shadows of the past. Art Klein, known for his striking use of light and contrast, had a talent for finding beauty in ordinary moments. His work often blended documentary realism with artistic composition, creating images that felt both timeless and deeply human. Whether it be the cobblestone streets, the silhouettes of pedestrians, or the quiet resilience etched into the city's architecture, this photograph encapsulates the spirit of a Europe rebuilding itself. Today, images like this serve as historical markers, reminding us of the resilience and endurance of cities like Antwerp, where the echoes of history still whisper through its streets. This powerful photograph from 1942 captures an African-American military policeman seated on his motorcycle in front of the segregated entrance to a military police station in Columbus, Georgia. The image is a striking juxtaposition, an officer in uniform, serving his country during World War II, yet still subjected to the harsh realities of racial segregation at home. During this era, African American soldiers fought bravely overseas while facing discrimination within the U.S. military and society. Despite their service, segregation laws enforced a divided America, even within institutions dedicated to national defense. The colored entrance sign in the background serves as a sobering reminder of the systemic racism that persisted throughout the Jim Crow South. This photograph not only documents a moment in history but also symbolizes the resilience of black servicemen who, despite facing injustice, continued to serve with dignity and honor. Their sacrifices and struggles played a crucial role in the fight for civil rights, paving the way for a more just and equal society. This candid wartime photograph from 1943 captures a light-hearted moment between two Allied aircrew members, Sergeant J. Dickinson from Canada and Sergeant F. Gilkes from Trinidad, as they share a joke while waiting to board their bomber for a raid on Hamburg. Despite the grim reality of war, their laughter stands as a testament to the camaraderie and resilience of those who served. Bomber command missions over Germany were among the most perilous of the war, with crews facing relentless anti-aircraft fire and night fighter attacks. Yet, men from across the Commonwealth answered the call, forging bonds that transcended nationality and background. Dickinson and Gilkes, though from different corners of the world, were united in a shared duty, embodying the spirit of the RAF's diverse wartime effort. In an era where racial and cultural divisions were still prevalent, moments like this highlight the unspoken brotherhood among those who fought side by side. Their legacy endures, not only in military history but in the broader story of unity against adversity. Beatrice Morrow Kennedy was a formidable force in the fight for racial equality, a passionate journalist, lecturer, and civil rights advocate who challenged discrimination in Oregon during the early 20th century. As the editor and publisher of The Advocate, one of the region's most influential black newspapers, she used her voice to expose injustice, promote education, and push for civil rights long before the national movement gained momentum. At a time when Oregon's black population faced systemic racism and exclusion laws, Kennedy fought tirelessly for anti-discrimination legislation, desegregation of public spaces, and better representation of African Americans in the media. Her activism made her a well-known figure, yet after relocating to Los Angeles in 1938, she faded from public memory. It wasn't until the 1970s that historians and scholars began to rediscover her legacy, recognizing her pivotal role in shaping Oregon's civil rights history. Today, Kennedy's contributions are finally receiving the recognition they deserve. Her life's work stands as a reminder of the power of journalism, advocacy, and unwavering determination in the pursuit of justice. This remarkable wartime photograph from 1943 captures a group of U.S. Army Signal Corps soldiers stationed inside an ancient Greek temple in southern Italy during World War II. Amidst the ruins of classical antiquity, these soldiers carried out vital communications work, linking the advancing Allied forces in their hard-fought campaign against Axis troops. As the Allies pushed through Italy, historic sites became unlikely backdrops for war. The ancient Greek temples of Paestum, for example, stood as silent witnesses to both the ancient world and the modern conflict unfolding around them. For the men stationed there, the contrast between war and history must have been striking, a battle for the future fought among relics of the past. Some of the soldiers in this image have been identified, offering a personal connection to this moment in history. Their presence serves as a reminder that war often intersects with culture, and that even in the midst of destruction, history endures. This rare and historically significant photograph captures George Roberts, a black veteran of the War of 1812 and a free sailor who served as a gunner aboard the privateer Chasseur. A courageous seaman, Roberts was among the crew of the famed Baltimore-based vessel, which harassed British shipping and played a vital role in America's naval efforts during the war. Hailed as a hero alongside his fellow crew members, Roberts was recognized for his service and remained a respected figure in Baltimore long after the war. He participated in commemorations at Fort McHenry for years, standing as a living testament to the contributions of black sailors in a conflict that shaped the young United States. As the only known photograph of a Black War of 1812 veteran, this image carries immense historical weight. It serves as a reminder of the overlooked but essential role that Black Americans played in the nation's early conflicts, fighting for both their country and their own place within it. This powerful photograph captures a 21-year-old Bernie Sanders being arrested during a civil rights protest against segregation in Chicago, August 1963. As a student at the University of Chicago and a member of the Congress of Racial Equality, CORE, Sanders was deeply involved in the fight against racial injustice, taking to the streets to challenge discriminatory housing policies and school segregation. The early 1960s were a turbulent time in the civil rights movement, with activists across the country risking arrest, violence, and imprisonment to demand equality. In Chicago, demonstrators protested against de facto segregation in public schools, calling for better conditions and an end to racial discrimination in education. Sanders was among those who physically placed themselves in the path of injustice. His arrest that day was just one of many sacrifices made in the struggle for civil rights. Decades later, this moment remains a defining part of Sanders' legacy, a testament to his long-standing commitment to social justice. It stands as a reminder that real change has always been driven by those willing to take a stand, sometimes even at the cost of their own freedom. This iconic photograph captures Soviet leader Leonid Brezhnev and East German leader Erich Honecker sharing a socialist fraternal kiss, a customary greeting among communist heads of state. The image, taken in 1979 during the 30th anniversary celebrations of the German Democratic Republic, GDR, became one of the most famous symbols of Cold War-era solidarity between socialist nations. The embrace represented the deep political and ideological ties between the USSR and East Germany, reinforcing their commitment to Marxist-Leninist unity. However, to Western audiences, the intensity of the gesture, particularly as captured in later depictions, such as Dmitry Vrubel's mural "My God, Help Me to Survive This Deadly Love on the Berlin Wall," took on a more ironic and dramatic interpretation, symbolizing the suffocating grip of Soviet influence over its satellite states. Whether seen as a genuine act of camaraderie or a representation of political dependency, the Brezhnev-Honecker kiss remains one of the Cold War's most enduring and visually striking moments.